Hey, that's pretty damn good. The Raptors defeat the Cleveland Cavaliers 100 to 88. They are now 6-4 with Pascal Siakam, 5-5 without him. That's right. He made his return to the lineup in this one, as did Scotty Barnes. The Raptors, a tremendously fun game. A lot of exciting things happen in this one. I'm excited to talk to you about them. But first, yes, of course, this is the Raptors Reaction Podcast. I am, of course, your host, Samson Folk. Okay, big picture stuff. First and foremost, Siakam returns. He looks absolutely tremendous. OG Anunoby is still here, and he looks absolutely tremendous. Those are your two leading scorers, 18, 11, and 5 for Pascal, 21 and 2 for OG. OG with the caveat that, hey, this guy also was the best defender on the floor by some margin. Both of them had possessions guarding Donovan Mitchell, more of Pascal early on, more of OG over the course of the full game. But regardless, Donovan Mitchell scored 8 points, shot 3 of 11 from the field. And the Raptors, a uniquely talented team to kind of squeeze a guy like Donovan Mitchell. And they definitely learned some things in how they wanted to guard him from the season opener, where he had, 30 points, 31 points, and like 11 assists, if I remember correctly. He was tremendous. And probably the second most notable thing is that Scotty Barnes and Gary Trent Jr., both available in this game, both of them came off the bench. Scotty, kind of an all-purpose 11 points, 4 boards, 5 assists. Some nice reads were made. Some risky passes that paid off in this one. And he had 3 blocks rotating around the defense. Those long arms, man. It's go-go gadget stuff. Extendo for some blocks. And then Gary, 14 points, 7 boards. The rebounds, I wouldn't read too much into. I don't think that's something that we have to keep an eye out for. But the points, 14 of them, he got 5 threes up. He hit 2. That's good. But most notably is probably that 4 or 5 from the free throw line and a couple layups made in this one. Guys are a little over eager to get out to him to contest. He's taking those possessions and getting them all the way to the rim. Sure, he missed, I think, like a 16-footer or something. But most of this game, the 4 of 9, we're looking at 3-pointers and attempted layups. I love that. It's always good to have a guy like Gary who can kind of make a defense pay if they're only saying, you can have the mid-range area, sure. But in this game, the Cavs didn't really have the capability to squeeze the Raptors out of everything they wanted. So a more idealistic shot profile was doable. And Gary found that in this game. He also had a very nice steal and a lob, I believe, to Scotty after he blew up a pin down as the guy trailing. I believe it was Chetty Osman that he was chasing off ball. That was really nice to see. Basically, oh man, I mean, Thad was good. Thad was in the starting lineup. He's the starting 5. I talked to Nick at practice, like a week ago now, and he had mentioned that they really like what they've found at the 5 with Thaddeus. And then Wancho, once again, in the starting lineup. Very interesting to go with him, I thought, and very cool because I love when he has minutes with Thad. They connected on another feed for a layup. They've had about 6 or 7 this season so far, I believe. And the rebounds find Wancho. He also, Siakam got doubled. Wancho was lifting out of the action. Some people call it shake, some people call it lift. You at home, you can just call it getting open, right? And hits a 3, 1 of 1 from downtown in this game. A mover, a shaker on offense, trying to fit in, screen, cut at the right time to help drag defenders, keep driving lanes open or passing lanes open for his teammates, and did a pretty damn good job of it. He's not blowing anybody's, hair back or anything like that. It's fine. But there was a harmony, especially offensively, that the Raptors found with Pascal Siakam once again at the helm. This new starting lineup, I believe it was the 8th unique starting lineup among the Raptors' last 8 games. Nurse has been looking for something. And of course, with Siakam back in and Barnes back in, a lot of this stuff simplifies, but he still went for a more unique lineup, citing that he had a situation last year where everybody came back into the starting lineup and it was all the regulars, but they started out flat. So he wanted to avoid that, going for more of a staggered release. And in this game, that worked out pretty well. OG, the 20 points, a lot of this coming off ball, being really aggressive, trailer threes, turning it downhill when the options are available in front of him, being really aggressive defensively. Man, he was awesome in this game. The steal and the block, if you're a defensive box score watcher, you've been spoiled by OG so far this season with how his block percentages and steal percentages, of course, but he blew up so many actions where it just moved the Cavs farther down the shot clock and moved them into worse and worse possessions and moved them into more possessions where it wasn't Donovan shooting, but getting Isaac Okoro to shoot 11 times, Dean Wade to shoot 10, and Garland and Mitchell only shooting 11 times each. That is a massive win. Karis LeVert, 2 of 9 from the floor. Robin Lopez, 3 of 6. Chetty took 12 shots. You keep Mitchell and Garland, both of them. These guys are averaging over 50 points a game together. And you keep them combined to 22 shot attempts, and Chetty Osman and Dean Wade do 22. Those two together? I mean, damn. And like, yeah, Chetty isn't going to shoot 1 for 8 from 3 all the time. Dean Wade, 2 for 6 from 3. Maybe that's closer to what's realistic for him. But the Raptors just doing a really good job of moving the Cavs off of their regular actions. And the Cavaliers missing Jared Allen in this one, and missing him a lot, honestly, because some of that roll gravity, he can draw tags, he can go up and get it, like when a lob comes, and he can also, when the ball comes to him in the middle of the floor, he can go up and he can finish it. That's a really, really important aspect of what the Cavs do offensively. You could make the case that Jared Allen is, he's in the top 3. Some people might say Mobley. They're probably incorrect at this point in time. Jared Allen, maybe he doesn't make the All-Star team. He's an All-Star level big. He's tremendous offensively, defensively more so. But man, really great to see OG's defense in this game. So great. And the offense just fitting in so snug. The efficiency has been missing during this time with Pascal out, and the lineup being juggled all the time. OG has taken on a lot of new responsibilities. He's responded tremendously as a driver. I've loved what I've seen, but the efficiency hasn't necessarily been there. It's just nice to see him doing stuff, because middling or low volume efficiency is still important to have in these pockets of games, and it makes you more diverse going forward. OG providing that. That's so great to see. But scale back a little bit. Pascal's drawing so much attention. He's really dealing in the middle of the court. There's so many more opportunities for you. Same with Fred. Just kind of slide into these actions, be a little bit more comfortable. That's what we saw from OG tonight. Tremendous. And Pascal Siakam's return, it was as good as one could hope. It's kind of, what was the first game of the season against the Cavs where he didn't score that much. He finished with like low 20s, and maybe he finished with 19 in that game. He finished with 18 in this one, had a lot of rebounds, knew that it was a big deal for him, especially with guys like Okoro and Dean Wade trying to get some of those extra possessions for the Cavs, pressing that Siakam. It's very important for you to hang back and make sure these extra possessions are guaranteed. Make sure that you close out these defensive possessions. And he did that. But on top of that, he was still just as good with the grab and go stuff. He was just as good with the ball in the middle of the floor or in these isolation possessions. When they ran pick and roll in the first half, the Cavs, they iced the pick and roll. So you're creating a lane for the guy on ball to put the defender on his hip, because they're cheating to make sure you don't use the screen. And Pascal's like, hey, do you guys know me? I'm Pascal Siakam. I put guys on my hip, I get into the middle of the floor, and then I detonate your defense. This is what I do. And he did that to great effect, but he also made shots from the outside. He was like a shot clock hero, saving, I think 3 or 4 late possessions. Just tremendous. He was so good. I mean, what more could you want from a guy? Sure, 2 turnovers, tough. There was one pass that he was late on that was supposed to go to Thad, I believe, or Kim, and Garland jumped the passing lane. But for the most part, Siakam just came out there, took everything that the Cavs were throwing at him, digested it, and found himself a really nice little game. Played 30 minutes, didn't look to overexert himself, stayed within his game, took the advantages that were there, created the others, ended up with 18 points, 11 boards, and 5 assists. And I don't even think that's really like, that seems small for him, for a guy who's averaging, coming into this game like 25, 7, and 8. But this game for Siakam, just cool as you like coming in and dominating in a way that basically only he does at the NBA level. Thad, by the way, I thought this was really cool. The way they staggered the lineups is really maximizing Thad's time away from Siakam. Even though they did start together, having Thad still keeping him in all those pet sets that they discovered that they liked in Siakam's time away, knowing that, hey, this is a guy who works incredibly well with OG and Fred. We found something here. There's transitional lineups to like. Hey, they found something. Thad looks awesome, man. And like Chris Boucher, he's still the best guy off the bench, of course. But Thad sneak like he's duplicative, right? He compounds the advantages that are there. He makes everything work better. A wheel greaser. You can read about this. RaptorsRepublic.com. Get the subscription. I don't know if the Black Friday sale is still on, but it's incredibly affordable. I believe it's $1 for 3 months. You get all of my written work, all of Lewis's, Aiden's 5 things he likes and doesn't like. But anyway, Lewis wrote about Thad, and it's a tremendous piece. You should go read it, raptorsrepublic.com. But he's found something: slick passing, good rotational defense, really great playmaking in those connective plays. Like that little pass, I believe Fred ended up going baseline, swung it out to Thad, and a lot of players would think like, okay, the ball's in my hand. The shot is supposed to go up. I'm about 11 feet away from the basket, or I drive in, a contested shot from there. But what he did was just that quick little lay down pass to a cutting Chris Boucher, ends up going to the line for free throws. Just really great job doing that. I love Thad's presence on this team. He's been an absolute treat. 10, 7, and 3 from him. Fred, he's just chilling. He, for the most part, right? Like he had a couple plays where he's just bombing from downtown. Uh, as it does happen with bigger guys at the rim, some length. Mobley changed some shots, as did Robin Lopez. And Fred had a couple opportunities where he maybe could have gone for floaters, where he ended up extending those possessions and moving the ball off, or maybe kind of getting a little bit greedy. But it's he rushed a bit when he was on ball, and that's a representation of the size waiting for him at the rim. Every once in a while, like he bit off a bit more than he could chew in isolation. But for the most part, this is just a great defender and a guy who hits a tremendous amount of threes. He didn't have such a good driving game in this one, but that's totally fine. The Raptors, Pascal isn't playing 37, 38 minutes right now, but you're still playing the style that Pascal represents on this team. So, Fred, there's about 8 more minutes in a game, that isn't filled with a Pascal Siakam, that has to be filled with other types of possessions. And while Fred only played 32 and a half in this one, he still has more time away from Pascal than maybe he's used to, or Scotty or Gary or OG, right? And so some of those possessions just funnel to him. You're the guy who has to take the shot. You're the guy who has to create. And it was a little inefficient in this one. He didn't bring out his superstar hat tonight, but Siakam and OG did, and that was certainly enough. The extra stuff that Fred was providing was definitely good enough for me. Good enough. The price of admission was met, as it were. Koloko saw, Koloko saw time early in this game. He was not very good. Fouls abound. 2 fouls in what, like, I guess 7 minutes. Not an insane amount of fouls, but a bit more than you'd like. And also bailed, Mobley out on one possession, was out of position as well. This wasn't the game for him, where the Raptors are getting, guys like Donovan and Garland in a lot of their defensive actions. You want to keep everything in front of you. You don't really want to be playing drop. And obviously there's more diversity to what Koloko can play and what he can do in the future as, a pick and roll big defensively. We'll see that as the season goes on, but this wasn't the matchup for him, I don't think. And that was kind of represented in the minutes. Even though he got an early look, it just didn't go very well. The Raptors in this game, the defense was probably not as good as 88 points might suggest. A lot of threes that guys on Cleveland probably typically make did not go in tonight. And that's not to say the Raptors didn't play good defense. They played good defense, and it became great defense because they had a bit of shooting luck on their side. 88 points. This could have easily been a closer game. And then the Raptors wouldn't have been playing guys like, Delano and Jeff Doughton Jr. and Malachi at the end there. But the Raptors, they played their game comfortably and won comfortably. But it could have. I still think they would have won if the Cavs shoot a little bit better. But 88 points doesn't mean that they're world beaters defensively, but they definitely did a good job recovering out to a lot of shots, getting in passing lanes and stuff like that. It was nice to see, but I mean, it was only like 4 steals in this game. I think 5 blocks. This wasn't one of their helter-skelter defensive games, but they did a really good job of keeping Garland and Mitchell in front of them, collapsing on them when they did get by, and then that shooting, the shooting from the Cavs did not translate into this game in a meaningful capacity. The Raptors, they definitely just a good game, good results, decent process defensively, good results, great process offensively, I would say. And at the end of it all, 100-88. What a performance from a bunch of different players. Really nice win. Just quality, quality. Reggie Evans Award, I'm giving it to Pascal Siakam, dude. Who else could get it? The rebounds, the grab and go stuff, he was everywhere on the court. And still, even coming back the way that he did, we're looking at a guy that, like, hey, he did a pretty damn good job of sticking a number of difficult defensive matchups. So really nice to see. The top quick reaction comment is from rapsrep. Quote, Spicy Poppy back in all-star form. End quote. Yeah, man, he's certainly there. And even you could even go farther than all-star form. Pascal is beyond all-star. He is fewer than that. There just isn't a lot of players in the NBA better than he is. Before he got injured, the buzz was top 10. The buzz was MVP votes, that kind of stuff. I don't know if he holds that up over the course of the season. We'll see. But the process in this game was the exact same process that brought him into the top 10 conversations and all that kind of stuff. And who knows how much higher people want to take those conversations. You want to say top 5, you want to say MVP, all that kind of stuff. Go nuts. Get as crazy as you want with the Pascal love, because he's certainly been through enough of the hate in his career, and he's certainly worked hard enough to warrant all the love. So rapsrep, thanks for commenting, writing in, and a listener, thanks for tuning in. Whether you got into this in the morning or at night, have a blessed day, and goodbye.